Many thanks for staying tuned to Spectrum TV. This is time for Worldview, where we bring you trending events happening in the world. Let's take a look at some major headlines that we have for you today. Japan's Prime Minister's big election win could mean more beef with Beijing. China's critic Jimmy Lai sentenced to 20 years in jail after landmark Hong Kong trial. We can also see today in Australia, where thousands protest Israeli President Herzog's visit to Australia. This and many more stories will be coming up on Worldview today. I am Emedion James. Please stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. We begin today from the Asian Pacific region, where Japanese Prime Minister Sena Takaichi's thumping election has blunted domestic opposition to her hawkish security agenda, encouraging plans to press ahead with a defense expansion that China has condemned as a return to militarism. As the scale of our government's historic victory became clear on Sunday, capturing 352 of the 465 seats in the lower house, Takaichi said she would work flat out to deliver an agenda that includes building a military strong enough to deter Chinese threat to its islands, including those close to Taiwan. In November, Takaichi touched off a diplomatic storm with Beijing by suggesting Japan could respond militarily to any Chinese attack on a democratically governed island if it also threatens Japanese territory. Meanwhile, China's responded fiercely to Takaichi's Taiwan comment, promising to resolutely prevent the resurgence of Japanese militarism if Tokyo continued on its wrong path. Beijing also imposed a series of economic countermeasures, including a boycott on travel to Japan and export restrictions on items such as rare earth it says Tokyo could use in military equipment. In China now, where China's policy towards Japan will not be changed by one particular election. Now, this was said by the Foreign Ministry spokesperson today. Japanese Prime Minister Sena Takaichi's coalition swept a victory in an election on Sunday, paving the way for promised tax cut and military spending. Takaichi sparked a diplomatic row with Beijing in November after she said a Chinese attack on Taiwan could amount to a survival-threatening situation for Japan and potentially trigger a military response. China claims sovereignty over democratically governed Taiwan. The island's government rejects that claim. In the meantime, Hong Kong's most vocal China critic, media tycoon Jimmy Lai, was sentenced today to 20 years in jail, ending the city's biggest national security case, which drew international concerns about Beijing's clampdown on the city's freedoms. Lia's sentence on 2 counts of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and 1 for publishing seditious materials ends a legal saga that has spanned nearly 5 years. The founder of the feisty but shattered Apple Daily newspaper was first arrested in August 2020 and was convicted last year. His 20-year sentence was within the harshest penalty tier for offensive of a grave nature, the 3 judges said, as they handed out the most severe punishment meted out yet under the national security law. Let's take a listen.
For his sentence. The heavy sentence clearly reflects the very serious nature of the offence committed by Lai Chi-ying. The court's judgment illustrates that the rule of law in Hong Kong is robust. Criminal acts will never be tolerated, and no one is above the law. Notwithstanding the punishment, irreparable harm has already been inflicted on our society. Over the years, Lai and his syndicate have misled people with fake news and false information. Under Lai's control, Apple Daily, together with the external forces he colluded with, have poisoned young people by inciting hatred and glorifying violence, and driven Hong Kong into a state of frenzied radicalism during Black Cat violence. And it was a time when humanity was at stake. We still remember young people blocking roads, storming the electrical building, and even beating up and setting on fire fellow citizens who held different views. Some even plot terrorist attacks to kill police officers and bomb hospitals. It was fortunate that the police had cracked down on these plots in time to prevent mass casualties and serious damages. The young people behind these terrorist activities had to face punishment by law. While our court has ruled independently and strictly in accordance with the law, external forces choose to ignore the facts and criticize the case as a so-called political prosecution. Let me stress once again that the reasons for verdict and reasons for sentence hand down fully demonstrates that the court has arrived at a judgment in strict accordance with the law and the evidence. As highlighted by the Chief Justice earlier,
Lai's sentence was enhanced by the fact that he was the mastermind and driving force behind persistent foreign collusion conspiracy, the judges added. In South Korea, the country's military has said that a South Korean Army AH-1S Cobra attack helicopter crashed today during a training flight in the northern city of Yampyeong, killing both crew members on board. It said in a statement that the helicopter went down shortly after 11 a.m. for reasons that remain unclear. The two crew members were evacuated to nearby hospitals but were later pronounced dead. Meanwhile, the Army has suspended operations of all AH-1S helicopters following the accident and set up an emergency response team to investigate the cause of the crash. The training involved practicing emergency landing procedures without shutting down the energy, according to the military. We'll take a quick break right now. When we return, we'll turn the spotlight to the Russia and Ukraine war scene. This is World Beyond Spectrum TV. Do stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. We turn the spotlight right now to the situation in Australia, where we could see today that thousands gathered across Australia to protest the arrival of Israeli President Isaac Herzog, who is on a multi-city trip aimed at expressing solidarity with Australia's Jewish community following a deadly mass shooting last year. Herzog is visiting Australia this week following an invitation from Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese in the aftermath of the December 14 shooting at a Hanako event at Cindy's Bondi Beach that killed 15. The visit has attracted the ire of some people in Australia who accuse Hensel of being complicit in civilian death in Gaza. Pro-Palestine groups have organized protests in cities and towns across the country on Monday evening. In Cindy, thousands gathered in a square in the city's central business district, listening to speeches and shouting pro-Palestinian slogans.
Of harassment.
Meanwhile, Israeli President Isaac Herzog has laid a wreath and 2 stones from Jerusalem at Bondi Beach, the site of a shooting that targeted a Jewish festival in December at the start of a controversial visit.
The weight of loss and the unbreakable bond between the living and those we have lost. These stones from Jerusalem, the eternal city, the eternal capital of Israel, will remain here at Bondi for eternity, in sacred memory of the victims and as a reminder that the bonds between good people of all faiths and all nations will continue to hold strong in the face of terror. 15 innocent souls who gathered to celebrate Hanukkah, the festival of light, were massacred in cold blood by 2 Islamist terrorists. The youngest victim, Sweet Mathilda, was just 10 years old. The oldest was 87-year-old Alex Kleitman, who survived the extermination of 6 million Jews in the Holocaust, only to be murdered for being a Jew on the beaches of Sydney, Australia. These vile terrorists specifically and deliberately targeted our sisters and brothers, Australian Jews. Yet, this was also an attack on all Australians. They attacked the values that our democracies treasure: the sanctity of human life, the freedom of religion, tolerance, dignity, and respect. This is how terror operates all around the world. And sadly, Israel has faced deadly threat of terror for many, many years. In the face of this evil, we saw the very best of humanity. Suddenly, here on Bondi, surfboards became trenches and stretchers as extraordinary.
Security has been tight for the 4-day visit, during which he will also travel to Canberra and Melbourne and meet Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Senior Jewish leaders have said the trip will comfort a grieving community, but others have said he should not have been invited due to allegations he has incited genocide in Gaza. The president was invited by Albanese after the shooting at Bondi, in which 15 people were killed, including a 10-year-old girl, at an event celebrating Hanukkah. In a sad development, the death toll from the collapse of a residential building in the Lebanese city of Tripoli rose to 13 as rescue teams continue to search for missing people beneath the rubble. Reports say that rescue workers in the northern city's Bab el-Tabana neighborhood have also assisted 9 survivors, while the search continued for others still believed to be trapped under the debris. Officials said that 2 adjoining buildings had collapsed, adding that Adel Hamid, head of Tripoli's Municipal Council, said he could not confirm how many people remained missing. Earlier, The head of Lebanon Civil Defense Rescue Service said the two buildings were home to 22 residents. A number of 18 residential buildings have collapsed in Tripoli, Lebanon's second largest city, in recent weeks, highlighting deteriorating infrastructure and years of neglect, state media reported. Let's turn the spotlight now to the Ukraine and Russia war scene, where Russian overnight drone attacks killed at least 3 people, including a mother and a 10-year-old son in Ukraine's east and south regional officials and prosecutors said today. The regional prosecutor's office said that a boy and his mother were killed in the attack on a residential area of the town of Bodokuhiv in the eastern Kharkiv region. The reports say that 6 people were hurt in the attack on the region, which has been a frequent target of attacks in the nearly 4-year war that started with Russia's invasion in 2022. 9 people, including a 13-year-old girl, were injured in a drone attack in the southern eastern Dnipropetrovsk region. The attack caused a fire in a 3-story building, destroying the roof. We move now to sports, where Seattle Seahawks produced a devastating defensive display to beat the New England Patriots and claim their second Super Bowl victory. 2 of the NFL's strongest defenses battled it out in Sunday's showpiece, and the Seahawks emphatically came out on top to win 29-13 at Levi's Stadium in London. It was a decisive performance for the Aegis, and Britton Arden Dirt played a pivotal role, becoming the first overseas coach to win the United States' biggest game. Meanwhile, Seattle's 46-year-old defensive coordinator has helped create the most feared defense in the NFL, which has become known as the dark side, and they showed why on American football's biggest stage in Santa Clara, California. After Seattle led 9-0 at halftime, Mayer's first turnover resulted in the game's opening touchdown for the tight end of the Alabama early in the 4th quarter. Meanwhile, Donald Trump did not hold back after Super Bowl's latest halftime show. With a minute of Bad Bunny leaving the stage, the president took to Truth Social with a blistering reaction. The performance, which drew global attention and celebrated Latin culture, clearly did not impress the president. His remarks quickly sparked fresh debate online, adding a political layer to an already headline-grabbing night. Bad Bunny made history as the first male solo Latin artist to headline a Super Bowl halftime show and the first to perform an entire set in Spanish. While millions praised the energy and message of unity, Trump offered a sharply different view from his watch party at Mar-a-Lago in West Palm Beach. Let's end with Africa today. Senegalese police said they have arrested 14 people and broken up a pedophile gang, operating between the country and France. According to the police statement, those arrested, who were all Senegalese, were part of a transnational criminal group that has been in operation since 2017. It said the group was accused of organized pedophilia, pimping, rape of minor under 15, sodomy, and intentional transmission of HIV and AIDS. They allegedly repeatedly forced boys to have unprotected sex with men who were mostly HIV positive and filmed it. 4 of the accused are said to have been acting on the instructions of a Frenchman arrested in France in April 2025 in exchange for money transfers. The 14 accused were brought before a judge on Friday following searches in several neighborhoods in Dhaka and the city of Karlok, 200 kilometers, that is 124 miles southeast of the capital. A police statement released on Sunday said coordinated raids had been carried out at the homes of the various suspects, with items believed to be linked to the alleged crimes seized. And that's all we have for you today on Worldview. Do ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum Worldview on Spectrum TV. I am Emedion James. Thank you for watching.